Good to have you with us tonight, folks. Thanks for watching. Well, we got some good news about jobs in the economy today, but Republicans are still banking on America's failure. You know, when you look at it, it's really their only chance to get all the power they want in Washington. Look at these numbers. The economy gained 200,000 jobs in the month of December. Gosh, that's good. The unemployment rate dropped to 8.5%. I remember talking to economists who were telling me that it would never go below 9% before the election. Well, what do you think? That is the lowest level of unemployment in almost 3 years. 2011 was the best year for private sector job growth since 2005, when W was on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Now, in 2010, the economy added 940,000 jobs. The unemployment rate was 9.6%. Now, last year, 2011, 1.6 million jobs were added, and the unemployment average was 8.9%. You know, 3 years ago, this month, this country lost 741,000 jobs. That was a record loss. And I really think that as a country, we don't really realize how bad it was. And I don't think that we're really appreciating how we're slowly pulling ourselves out of this. Of course, the Republicans aren't helping out. In those 3 years, President Obama got zero help from the Republicans. Only 3 Republicans voted for the stimulus bill. That's not big help, but it did make a difference. Republicans, they didn't pass a jobs bill. That's what the president wanted to do. Republicans, they don't want anything to do with an infrastructure bill. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to protect the top 0.0% of income earners. This is what has happened over the last 3 years. You know, without their help, President Obama has put together 22 months of consecutive private sector job growth. That's a heck of a number. The president says we are not where we want to be, obviously, but we're moving in the right direction. This is bad news for Republicans because they can only win in November if they bet against American workers. And this is against the tidal wave of outsourcing, which the corporatists love to do, which the Republicans put all the skids on the table for them to go do what they want to do when it comes to that, helping them out any way they can. Republican presidential candidates, they can't admit the economy is improving, and they definitely can't give any credit to President Obama.
This president has been on the attack and has been a job killer.
Today's unemployment numbers are a pretty good indicator that we're a very, very long way from being a healthy economy. And I think given this president, it's very unlikely that he's going to solve it.
I'm very gratified to see that in spite of President Obama's policies, that the job market is beginning to pick up a little bit.
This president doesn't understand how this economy works. It's time to get a president who does.
Really? So what is this? Is this a job-killing chart? We better take this down. Heck, Mitt says this is a job-killing chart. No, this is great numbers right here for America. Remember the Depression, the crash of 1929 and what the country went through? This is as bad as it's been since then. But now look at this chart that the Obama administration and his team have been able to put together for the American people. And Mitt stands up there and says that. How can Mitt Romney say President Obama doesn't understand the economy when the job growth keeps improving under his administration? Another flip-flop by old Mittster. Now, Romney says President Obama has record unemployment. Let's look at the unemployment situation in America when President Obama took office. Jobs were in a free fall in 2008. Remember these days? I do. Once President Obama's policies got underway, things started to turn around. The stimulus programs kicked in. Let's not forget how the righties vilified the auto industry bailout. No, it was a loan and it worked. And the Republicans had nothing to do with it. The payroll tax cut. Well, that was suspended. And there, of course, is no way around it. President Obama is the job creator. Is Mitt Romney a job creator? Ask the thousands of people who lost their jobs when Romney's Bain Capital took over their companies. Like these 2 steel workers from Kansas City.
I worked in this plant 32 years as a steel worker.
I spent 34 years in a steel mill.
Bain Capital came in with Mitt Romney and his cronies and shut the place down.
They walked out of here with millions. They left us with nothing.
This community's never been the same, never going to be the same. Thousands of jobs lost. I don't see where he's creating anybody's jobs.
Tell you he wants to come in and help this country, he'll raid this country just like he did this company. That's what he does.
And didn't Mitt Romney say that President Obama was the job killer just a moment ago in the tape that we played? Well, I have a challenge for Mr. Romney, and I'll pay for the transportation. Every time I throw out something like this, it never works out, but I'll try it again. I will get those two gentlemen, and I will get them to Mitt Romney's campaign, and I would like those two gentlemen to come face to face with Mr. Romney and have Mr. Romney tell those two gentlemen what really happened. Why did they lose their jobs? Have a conversation with these people, because after all, Mitt, you say you're the job creator. What about the people that fell on your watch? Mitt Romney and other Republican candidates better come up with some real job solutions, right? Don't you think? The current president's kind of on a roll. He's got a record of job creation, and the economy is slowly improving. Without any real plans of their own, Republicans hope this country fails. You can only look at the way they vote in the House and the Senate. They have done nothing when it comes to job creation since Mr. Boehner has gotten the gavel. They have had a record number of filibusters. They have stopped everything. It's been obstruction after obstruction. President Obama could make the case. His ego won't allow him to do it. But he could make the case on the campaign trail. Republicans have given me no help. I have done this on my own. I have had to do this on my own. And 22 months of private sector job creation is the record that we have. And, of course, by the time we get to November, it's going to be a heck of a lot better than that. The country is headed in the right direction, and you have got the Republican candidates out there wishing for failure. They want American workers to fail. They hate these numbers. They hate these charts. They don't talk about these charts. Of course we have a long way to go. But let's reverse this a little bit. Let's just say that George Bush really took us in the tank at the turn of the century. Okay? Let's say that he inherited that. Okay, that Clinton took us in the tank at the turn of the century, and Bush came in and inherited the numbers that Obama inherited. And what do you think Karl Rove would have done with 22 months of private sector jobs? What do you think the right-wing sound machine would sound like? Yeah. Put it in those terms and think about it for a moment. We are on the right course. Get your cell phones out. I want to know what you think tonight. Tonight's question: can the country afford 4 years of Mitt Romney's job creation? Text A for yes, text B for no to 622-639. You can go to our blog at ed.msnbc.com. We'll bring you the results later on in the show. Let's turn now to Robert Reich, former labor secretary under the Clinton administration, now a professor of public policy, UC Berkeley, and author of the book Aftershock. I have to ask you, what if you guys in the Clinton administration had left the country the way Bush did? What do you think that the Bush administration would be saying with 22 months of private sector job? That's not the first question I wanted to ask, but I just can't help it.
Well, I'll tell you, Ed, if you look at the historic record, and you have to be a little bit frightened by what might have happened. I mean, had the Bush administration, George W. Bush administration, given those big tax cuts away to the rich and the big corporations, on top of, let's assume your hypothesis that the Clinton administration had not created the 22 million net new jobs, we'd really be in trouble right now. A much, much bigger trouble than we are. The critical point from today's job numbers is that the trend is in the right direction. In political terms, you're absolutely right. This is giving Republicans a big headache, because what are they going to say? I mean, they can't say that he's a job killer because you have all of these new jobs being created. We're not out of the woods, but as long as the trend continues in this direction, the president's chances of being reelected are much, much better. Americans worry about the trend. I mean, they don't worry so much about the absolute level of unemployment or jobs. They worry about the trend. If the trend is in the right direction, they breathe a sigh of relief. They say, yes, Obama can do it. And again, Republicans have said no to every single job initiative the the president has wanted. His stimulus package, most recently, the job creation ideas behind extending the payroll tax cut, extending unemployment insurance. The Republicans said, no, we don't want to do it. It's a failure. Well, you look at these job numbers, look at the trajectory, look at the direction, and you see it's not a failure at all. Had we not had any of this, we'd really be in far worse shape than we are right now.
You know, Mr. Reich, I remember 3 years ago this month, some things happened to me in business. And the mood of the country was, holy smokes, over 700,000 jobs. How are we going to stop this? How are we going to turn this around? I don't think the country really realized how bad off we were and how quickly we really could have gone into the tank. And some things had to be done with some leadership to turn this thing around, to get a hold of it. Shouldn't Republicans be thrilled with private sector jobs increasing and public sector jobs decreasing? What about that?
Well, you would think so. I mean, Ed, all we are hearing from the Republicans is the same old Republican mantra, and that is corporations need tax breaks, rich people need tax breaks, corporations need regulatory cuts, so-called regulatory relief. I mean, the absurdity behind that is the corporations are still making huge amounts of money, and they're sitting on $1.5 trillion of cash right now, and the unemployment numbers are looking better. Why should they have tax relief and so-called regulatory relief? I mean, if you want to do anything to speed the process of jobs, do more of what the president has been trying to do, and that is do more kind of tax relief for average working people, more job creation in terms of infrastructure, a WPA, a Civilian Conservation Corps. I mean, do all of that, and you're going to even have faster job growth.
Robert Reich, always a pleasure. Great to have you with us tonight. We can only wonder how good it would be if they did do the infrastructure bill, if they did do the jobs bill, and be on the side of the American workers. Great to have you with us tonight. Thanks so much.